What's happening, Hardscapers? Today we're forming and pouring a pad for our steps. Let's get into this. So what we're doing here is we have 10-inch sonotubes. They're going down to our frost line. We are gonna pour a pad for our steps to sit. This is just gonna make sure that they're not gonna go anywhere. Anytime we install steps more than 2 steps, so 2 rises, that gets into railing territory. And once we get into railing territory, I just like to have a pad there that's going down to frost line that's going to ensure that these steps are not going to go anywhere. That's going to give us 28 inches from top of pad to top of sill, and that's going to be 7, 14, 21, 28. So those 3 steps, and then the final step is the 4th step into the actual house. That's the math involved, and just want to make sure that we're nice and deep here. Nice little Ryobi auger, because I don't have an auger yet for my machine, so a little bit of manual work, but at least this thing gets us just about 3 feet, and then we have to do a little bit more cleanup with the clam shovel. Oh. Ow. Okay, what you saw in this clip is me struggling to get that mud mixer to work. Now, not on mud mixer at all. I left it for, I haven't used it in probably 2 years. Left it outside, it had a tarp on it. Immediately, it blew the breaker of my client's house. Luckily, they're home. They were able to put it back on for me, but what was happening was there was still concrete in the spindle that was solidified. So the actual auger was binding to it, and that was just causing the power to trip. And I was able to hammer that out, get that nice and clean. And then what happened was the water, one of the water fixtures on the mud mixer had popped. So water was coming out. It wasn't making its way down to the bottom of the hopper where that water meets the concrete and then works its way up the auger. So I had a decision to make. Do I do it manually, spraying it, or do I do it manually, mixing it? Because I do have my little steel mixer manual mixing machine here, but 45 bags, that would have really sucked. The mud mixer does 45 bags every hour. So this was going to only take me an hour once I got the actual mud mixer working and not binding. The steel mixer would have taken me about an hour and a half-ish, but not taking into factor exhaustion, because I would get very tired mixing bag after bag. It's supposed to be 1 bag every 1 minute, so that would be 45 minutes, but add in the time of actually scooping it out, putting it down, and so on and so forth. I'm sure it'd be at least an hour and a half plus exhaustion levels getting there. I didn't want to do that, so I decided to go with the mud mixer and spraying it at the base. Got to a certain point where the mud mixer started to zap me, electrocute me when I turned it forward. Really weird. I don't know what was happening in there. Probably just lots of water where it shouldn't have been, and eventually it just stopped working. So I put the mud mixer away, and for the last 10 bags or so I mixed manually. Then I didn't have enough bags, 6 bags short, so I had to go out get them. By the time I got back, this was 8:30 that I finally left the site. So let's go see what this is looking like. So not bad for a pad that we just needed to be rough for our steps to sit on. We did have an animal kind of walk on through it when it was still curing, so we do have some paw prints in there, and we will cut in some channels for the water to get out that actually ends up on this pad. And then our plan for this is to have a return that has no steps coming down on the left side, and on the front side there's going to be 3 steps down, and on the right side there's going to be 3 steps down, so kind of like a half pyramid shape. Now, we did get our steps delivered. That means we need to find a way to get 2 3-footers, 2 4-footers, 2 5-footers, a 6-footer, and a 7-foot step into the backyard with our machine. Okay, let's see what this machine can do. 3-footers were nice and easy, slid nicely into the bucket and carried it with very minimal tipping. Those are about 350 to 400 pounds. So let's step it up to the 4-footers. machine died on me. This is not a fun place for the machine to die, but at least we got it through the gate. Okay, 4-footers, that was a little bit more difficult, a little bit more tipping, but I was able to carry them in. That's like 450, 500 pounds-ish. Okay, my game plan for 5-footer, 6-footer, and the 7-footer is to put it into the bucket and strap it. And strap it across the face. I tested out just wrapping a loop around the body of the step. It wasn't working out so well, but once I strapped it around the machine and to the face of the step on the long side, that worked out really well. And I just dragged it across the plywood into the backyard, and I'm happy with that result. But that 5-footer is about 650 pounds. Let's see what a 750 to 800 pound 6-footer is going to give me. Now I only have one 6-footer, one 7-footer, so 7-footer is going to be tough. Okay, the 6-footer, that's like 800 pounds. That was a little bit more difficult, especially getting into the actual gate here. That was interesting. That 7-footer is going to be really difficult. This is closer to about 1,000 pounds. So hopefully this machine has enough in it to carry this step into the backyard, or to drag it into the backyard. All right, we did it. That 7-footer's in the backyard, and that was a challenge for sure, just dragging it across the plywood. It actually worked out really well. The gate was the most difficult part to actually get into the backyard, but it worked. We got it. Now we can start building our steps. Okay, we've got our first layer on. We've got 2 more layers to go. Remember, we're going 7, 14, 21, and then 28 to the sill is the final one here. Yeah, that went all right based on what you may or may not have saw. I do have my handy dandy sketch here of the cuts we're gonna have to do, because just the way everything lays out, it's not gonna work out perfectly, but we're gonna have to cut this one by a couple of inches so it's nice and tight to this one. We're gonna have to cut that one 4 inches, I believe, so that this can go back into that, and then there'll be cuts on each one as we kind of work our way up. Today we're doing lots of cuts to build these steps up, following that plan I made. I just had to make this a little bit more of a straight cut to slide this guy in, but we've got this one nice and tight, this one fairly tight against that wall there, and then the next one we're gonna have a 36-inch piece, so I'll have to cut it at, I believe, 32 inches. I gotta double check that. And then our next one is gonna be 71 inches. So we have a 6-footer that's 72 inches going across this way. And then the return there will be a 4-footer, because that's a 5-footer. Good thing this can lift a 4-footer fairly well. So once I get that 6-footer dragged on, I think that's the last difficult one that I need to pick up, because there's no more. Oh, here's a 5-footer. Oh, 5-footer. Oh, 5-footer is the very last one at the top going this way. So that might be a little bit difficult. That's pretty good for me. Pretty good, next level. So as I'm building up these steps, I've got those filler blocks in place to carry the weight of the next step that we place, as well as filler blocks along the back so that we have a relief wall, that the gravel that we're going to pour into the step is not going to put a whole bunch of pressure on the foundation wall. Next layer on, now we got some cuts to do. About an inch off that to slide this one back so it's got a 2-inch overhang, and then cut this one. I think we're going 5 inches off so that this can slide back so there's a 2-inch overhang. Then we're gonna have, these are 16-inch treads, so we'll have a 14-inch tread and a good overlap for each step here. Seams are coming together good. We're working out perfect here. We're gonna be perfectly centered at the end of this. And man, this is gonna look good. When all is said and done, but a lot of work. Step level 2 done. 1 more to go. That means 3 more cuts. Done. So as you can see, as we get closer to the top, we've got our gravel backfill. We compact that, finish up our cuts, finalize this thing, and then our final result, we make sure to add in our gravel, compact, and then I have added a couple of pieces of the same material, square cut flag Aramosa, as a landing. So this client now has a nice 3-foot landing-ish coming out that door. It's centered completely on that door from side of step to side of step, and they can maneuver in and out of their house, especially if they're doing barbecuing and having something in their hands. They can maneuver through that doorway with a lot of space for them to do so. Prior to this installation, they had a 11-inch step going from the deck into the house, and now they have that reduced down to a 7-inch step, and now each step is 7 inches for this. And in our next video, we're gonna be preparing the base for this patio, screeding, laying, and installing the edge restraint and jointed compound. So be sure to click that playlist that shows up here so that you can follow along. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment below any questions that you have, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more hardscaping content like this. Thank you so much for watching.